Welcome, this is G with All Astrology. This is the 4th of November 2019, and I'm going to go over a little bit detailed information for this month. Specifically, we're going to talk about a grand water trine that's been occurring for the last couple of days, and will keep on occurring for a few more days yet. So remember, today is the 4th. Now, in the scope of the entire month, I had already put out a video and it spoke about the big square, the big powerful square. It was called Clash of the Titans. It was Mars squaring up with Pluto. But there's also this other divine, beautiful, energetic flow of energy that's occurring that we're receiving that's helping this tumultuous time, this time that's been predicted to just be, could be, in some people's charts, could be considered a violent time. Definitely heated discussions. All this depends upon where it happens in someone's chart, of course. So I'm going to go into a little bit of detail, and I want to actually show those who are seekers of truth, I want to actually show you how this looks on the map, and that way you can see the numbers, you can see how it plays out, and then you can possibly understand as well why it would be different for certain people in their houses and why that matters, right? Why the hell does that, what bearing does that have on my life, in my everyday world? Next thing I'm going to mention is that this is All Astrology, and we do free readings. Every subscriber is entitled to one free reading. It's a high quality reading. It is a real reading. It is not some crap where, you're given a computer generated reading and response. This is not that at all. This is time where myself and Miss A, we sit down and we look at your stuff and we make sure that we give you dates that are important, that are coming up for you, things that you should definitely have a heads up to, things that I would want to know coming down the pipe. And so we really try to pinpoint important moments, things that we think you'd want to know, okay? So again, you just comment birth info down below and we'll hook you up. We'll take care of you. Now, let me move on to the meat and potatoes of this video. So I'm going to take the camera off of me and I'm going to change things a little bit. I'm going to do the screen thing so that people who are actual seekers of truth get to see what's true. Okay? All right, here we are. We have energy. Let me see if we're all good here. Uh-oh. Hopefully that thing doesn't matter so much. Okay, so let me see. I got us down there, and then I can kind of go like that, and I can kind of go like that. All right, so here we are. Let me find my cursor. Here it is. Okay, so here is Pluto, here at 20 degrees. Here is Mars at 20 degrees. They're in cardinal signs, right? What's the cardinal signs? Libra, Capricorn, Aries, and Cancer. Okay, if you look at those 4 cardinal signs and you travel around with your eye, you see there's this great square, right? It makes a square. Okay, so that's how these energies work. The elements, well, actually, that'll be another video for another time. I don't want to confuse people, but that's how these things work. They form squares, all right? So anytime you have this outer band, okay, and you have, that's why it's important to know, cardinal, mutable, fixed, okay? These are important to know because then you understand right away when you're looking at a chart without counting degrees, okay, I see this is 20 degrees here. If I want to know what's squaring this 20 degrees in this cardinal sign, okay, then I need to look right away at the other cardinals and see if there's something at that 20 degree mark. So we've got Pluto at 20 degrees, and we also have Saturn at 15 degrees, which everybody in the astrology community has been trying to give people a heads up for over 6 months now because we have, I'm chuckling, but for certain people's charts, this could be rather serious because what's going to happen is Saturn is actually going to be right on top of Pluto. Okay, so if you were an individual who has cardinal natal planets, okay, then that would create a square. And it's a powerful, powerful, powerful square, okay? So for this video, we're going to just bring it right back to today. We're looking at the tight square between Pluto and Mars. And there is the square that that Saturn is giving to Mars as well, because it's at 1541. So that is a 5-degree orb, okay? Remember, orb just means the distance, okay? An orb is the distance within we believe there's going to be a tangible, physically easily to feel type of stress, or not. You know, orbs, if I say, anyway, let's just keep it at that. I don't want to go any further and make it more confusing than it needs to be. So this is what we're looking at here, okay? And this is the energy that we've given you, that I have suggested to don't force any agendas. Don't go forward with anything, especially in making decisions on, you know, if you get into a disagreement with somebody and say, I don't want to talk to that person anymore, you know, don't do anything like that. You can't do anything when there's this kind of power play energy, Clash of the Titans, right? Neither one wants to back down. So you just kind of want to just chill. Just say, you know what, I got to think about this, and sit on it. Sit on it until after the 10th. Some people are suggesting that you don't make any decisions because of the Mercury retrograde, that you don't make any decisions this month until after the 21st. After the 21st, which is when Mercury will go direct. And that being said, Mercury is not only going direct that day, but Mercury is also becoming visible. And when a planet becomes visible and direct at the same time, it's more powerful. So in that regards, I would agree that, yes, it makes sense that if Mercury goes direct and becomes visible, it's been invisible for a few months now, but if it becomes visible on that day, that means that whatever house, wherever Scorpio is, because that's where it becomes visible, in this particular chart, this is just a chart of the moment, Scorpio, you see how Scorpio crosses over into another house here? Scorpio, on this chart of the moment, extends into another house, okay? So if this was an individual's chart that I was looking at, I would understand that as of right now, Mercury is here in their 8th house. But because Mercury is trucking backwards and retrograding, you can see the R right there. It's super small. But anyway, when Mercury goes all the way back, and the date 11/21, when it gets to 11/21, believe it or not, people, Mercury's going to be exactly right where the sun is today. It's crazy, but this is what it is. This is also, I believe, where our new moon was. I'm going to double check that information. I don't have that off the top of my head exactly, but I want to say this is where our new moon was in Scorpio as well. So this is actually going to be this point right here in your chart. If you were an individual who has a planet, a natal planet, this would be a really big deal. It would be an eye-opening moment, like you were getting information, no doubt. You're getting information, and it's just like this big, why didn't I think of that before? It just kind of all of a sudden pops in. Now, this all might be really confusing what I just said, because it's showing Mercury's here, but you gotta try to imagine Mercury going and trucking back. But when it gets to this point, Mercury stops. Okay, it actually stands still. Now remember, these things are all in an appearance. Things aren't actually moving backwards. All right, but that's another video for another time. It's the appearance. It's how it looks to us from Earth. The point is that something happens energetically. We feel this supposed retrograding, this supposed backward motion, and it affects our lives. I know immediately, as soon as the day Mercury started going retrograde in Scorpio, the craziness, the dreams I started having, and dreams about people from my past, right, that I was emotionally bonded to at one time. This is all Scorpio stuff. And it was just kind of fascinating, because it was just like freaking clockwork. So my point is, Mercury's going to be going back. At this point, it'll stop, and then it'll go forward. That's on the 21st of November. Mercury is going to then be, because the sun will have moved by then, okay? The sun will have actually moved, and it'll be not the rays of the sun, when a planet is very close to the sun, it's basically, that planet becomes invisible. Mercury, though, will be being reborn in Scorpio. So you would want to know what that's going to mean for you, actually, and I'm hoping to do a video on that for each sign. What does that mean? Because it's not so much just the fact that Mercury becomes reborn, but it's that we're having on the 12th, 11th, 11/11, I'm sorry, on 11/11, we're having this huge Sun-Mercury conjunction, which is typical, of course, when Mercury is moving backward and the Sun is moving forward. But there's other things that are occurring at that time that lend to this being a very rare lineup, okay? And that's what this video is about. But I needed to explain these other initial energies so that you can understand. See, the astrology is about the big picture. It's not just about this aspecting this. It's not just about this aspecting this. Your chart, your life is the whole damn picture, people. It is the whole thing, okay? And it is tricky. It is complex. And that's why, astrology and being able to even just share a little bit of the knowledge that I feel I have, it takes a lot of freaking investment of time and dedication to have an idea of what the hell all this means. So I'm just sharing the knowledge I have. I'm sharing the information that comes into me as I get it. I have my aha moments just like everybody else. And I also want to point out today that the sun is being squared by the moon. And I know I had the hardest time getting up today. I don't know how this affected anybody else. But this was difficult for me. I have Scorpio in my 6th house. So if the moon is squaring that, the sun is your vitality. Even after I got up, anyhow, difficult. So this isn't for everybody as far as it being in your 6th house and affecting your health. I have a friend where this is in this person's 2nd house, So issues about money might be a concern, might cause an emotional stress on this person today because the moon is squaring the sun. Okay, let's move on. Enough of the me show. Let's get on to astrology, which is this square and then the beautiful aspects that I want to talk about that not many other people are talking about. Now, if you can take a look, okay, it's a watery thing we've got happening. We've got the sun here in Scorpio, 11 degrees. We've got Neptune at 16. So what's the orb? 5 degrees. That's right. Now, actually, let me correct something here. I don't normally like to do this, but because this says 11:54, planets, this is minutes, and it runs from 0 to 60. So once we hit 30, like anything we round up. So if this was like 11:29, I would say this was 11 degrees. If this was 11:30 to 11:60, I would say that we can round this up to a 12 degree. Okay, these minutes, we can round them up. It's at 11:54. So this is actually 12 degrees now for the sake of this, all right? It's 6 minutes away from being at 12 degrees. I feel pretty safe to say we can say this is at 12 degrees. So this is at 12, and this is definitely at 16 because it's 16:04. It's only 4 minutes. So this is now we're going to go back to the orb discussion, right? Which is the distance. 16 minus 12 is 4 degrees. So this is a 4-degree orb, which is a good amount of distance to consider a trine. A trine is an aspect that adds ease. It makes something easy. So Neptune, the planet Neptune in Pisces, Neptune is divine love, divine energy. Can also be delusional and illusional and, cloud people's judgment. However, because it's not a square, it's sending a trine energy, right? Why is it a trine? Because this is a water sign, okay? And this is a water sign, okay? When it comes to the elements, matching elements are trines, okay? Matching elements are trines. When earlier I spoke about the energy, okay, matching energies are squares. So there's elements and energies. And if you have a chart, and if you look down here, this box right here See, this is the kind of energy, and this is the elements. See how they have that there in that graph? Fire, air, earth, and water. Okay, water aspecting water is a beautiful trine. Earth aspecting earth is a beautiful trine. Now, if we were to say cardinal, cardinal aspecting cardinal is a square. Think about that. Why is that? Because this isn't going to back down. Says action. This isn't going to back down. It's cardinal. It says action. I'm going to fight you. I'm not going to back down. I have an idea and I want to move on it, and this is what I want to do. Well, I have an idea and I want to move on it, and this is what I want to do. So they both come to the table, ready to take action. It's kind of like get in the ring energy, get in the ring. We, over here, this beautiful aspect we have coming is matching elements, not energies, elements. This energy is actually fixed. This is water, but it's a fixed. Now, I don't want to go too far into this because I don't want to lose people. This is water, but this is a mutable water. It's easygoing. It's Pisces. I go with the flow, okay? And the trick with the Pisces and that symbol is that the fish is being pulled like in two different directions, Well, I have people who want to do this, and I have people who want to do this. Well, I can go either way, right? Being pulled in either direction because it's mutable. It basically absorbs the energy of those that it is around. You want that? Well, then I want that. You want that? Well, then I want that too. I want what you want. That's Pisces, okay? Over here we have Scorpio, and Scorpio is definitely a water sign as well. Scorpio is fixed, however. Its ruler is Pluto. Pluto is power. Scorpio is definitely a sign of a fighter. They do not back down for that reason. Some astrologies also label Mars as being a ruler of Scorpio, right? So that's like Scorpio fighting Scorpio there. Anyway, I don't want to confuse. So we've got water, trining water, an orb of 5 degrees, all right? Now let's find, is there something else in water, right? We're going to go to the element. We're going to go, let's find water. Here's water. Look at that. And we've got the North Node at 1020. And this would be an orb of 5 degrees, right? 16 minus 10. Well, I'm sorry, 6 degrees. 6 degrees. And this 10 to 12, right? That's 2 degrees. So trine, 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 trine. This is what you would call a grand water trine. Water because all the elements are water. Grand because the trine does not exist just between two planets. It exists, or points, I should say, planets and points, because it exists between the moon's nodes, which is the north node here, Neptune, and the sun. This is what is saving us from killing each other right now. This is what is mellowing out and adding the ability to see your perspective without having to beat your ass to the ground, because that's what Pluto and Mars want to do. They're in the ring and they're going to box and pulling out all their goddamn weapons and whatever they have to do, cheat if they have to, whatever they got to do to win. However, not luckily, there's nothing luck about any of this. If you look at the beautiful lineups, you realize, my gosh, this is so spiritual, right? Water, it's spiritual. It's Neptune, it's spiritual. It involves Scorpio, which is, the other world, the metaphysical, right? Spirit realm. And then we have Cancer, which is my deep emotional world. So I have empathy, empaths. I can understand where you're coming from. Neptune, I want to feel what you feel. I understand what you feel. And, well, you want that? Well, I want that too. So there's this beautiful grand water trine going on where we really are receiving divine streams of harmony, of love, of understanding, of acceptance, and of beauty. Even if there's a part of us that doesn't quite get what the fight is about, what the disagreement is about, there's this forgiveness, there's this, I don't want to fight, there's this, don't you see, I'm waving my white flag, I don't have the energy to spend on this, I realize there are more important things to me that I will fight for. This is not one of them. So we have this wonderful, overarching, divine, spiritual energy that is helping us, that is assisting us, that is gracing us. And I say, why the hell aren't more people pointing this out and talking about this? Well, here I am. I wanted to talk about it. I wanted to point it out because I want you to see it's not fluff. If someone mentions this, this is a very real thing. And here is the tangible proof. It's on paper. It's right here. And this is something I have been definitely guided to talk about, that this has been happening for the last few days and will continue to happen, and also will play a role. Neptune, first of all, if you know, something to understand about planets and their energy is that when you have a planet that's slower moving, basically the way I like to say it is it out-trumps the sun. Actually, I don't even know if I should use that word anymore, but it becomes the ruler of this trine, so to speak. It becomes the ruler of this trine because its energy is the strongest, believe it or not. It's slower moving than the sun. It's slower moving than the moon's nodes. So the way we come to talk about these things in astrology is that what we've observed over many, 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 many years is that when a planet is slower, its effect is more strongly felt. Okay, so this grand water trine is being ruled by Neptune, benevolent, beautiful Neptune. Okay, and this is important to understand coming up for 11/11's energy. Okay, 11/11, we will have Mercury backing up. It'll get to where the moon is located, and they're going to be here in Scorpio. And on that day, my chart isn't showing that exactly, but the degree, why don't I have the degree written down where they meet up? Drives me crazy. I guess it's not that important. You guys aren't going to know what the degrees are anyway. I can find out and do it. Actually, I can do that right now. Reality. Here, join me for a moment. I'll show you some fun stuff here. We'll just do this. How about I just take one of these? I'll take that, and we'll go like that, and we'll go to the 11th. Okay. Pulling the transits for the 11th. Just so you understand, in this particular chart I drew up, this chart is not a person's chart. This is simply a chart of the moment from the 2nd of November. I showed this chart in another video. And that would be the inner planets in black. The outer planets in green are the current locations of the planets at this moment, actually. Okay, so the page refreshes itself because the moon may move. Moon is the fastest moving. And so look, 18 degrees, right? Let's check out the detail down below. The sun will be at 1817, okay? And, oh, I'm sorry. I'm like, hello, Mercury. Where's Mercury? Right. So the closest these two get, because Mercury moves fast and the sun, all right, there will be a point in time when Mercury crosses over the sun. At this point, Mercury is at 19. She hasn't touched the sun just yet. Let's go find her up here. See, Mercury is retrograding, the green R. She's going to back over the sun, okay? Now, this happens pretty fast. It'll be happening on the 11th, okay? When that's happening, what we want to pay attention to is what's going on with the other planets. Now, we're talking just the green ones, okay? We're talking just the green ones because that's the other transiting, which is current movement of the planets. Now, what's going to be happening at that time is, remember, we spoke about Neptune, right? Neptune earlier was at 16 degrees. And Neptune on that day is at 16 degrees. Still, remember, it's a slow-moving planet. It's still at 16 degrees. Neptune is in water, so we're, again, paying attention to the water and the locations. Now, that sends a trine, right? What did we just talk about? Trines. So green, This is at 18. It's a 2-degree orb. Mercury and the sun will have a 2-degree orb from Neptune. Neptune sending its divine information. Because remember, this is all trining up at the same time that Mercury is, well, Mercury hasn't gone visible yet here. This is on the 11th. But Mercury will be crossing, like I said, the sun, receiving information. And when Mercury does go visible, she'll be at 11 degrees, okay, on the 21st, receiving information from Neptune. And I think both of these days, 11 and 11/21, are going to be days you would want to pay attention to, whether it's in your dreams or information you get from other people in your life, or if you have visions and things just happen to pop in, or if you hear something, you know, and there's nobody there type of thing, where you're getting information from the spirit realm. It depends on where Neptune or where Scorpio and Pisces are in your chart. Like for me, Pisces is in my 11th house. I have a crap load of planets in my 12th house, which is ruled by Pisces. So I often see lots of things in my dreams. I often during the day will get visuals, you know, I'll get visions, but it happens different for everybody. Okay. We all get it. We just get it in different ways. Okay. It's a matter of understanding what your tools are that you're working with. Now, if you don't know where any of these things are in your chart, people, I've said it a trillion times and I'll just keep on saying it. Please message us down below. Go ahead, comment, say you want some help understanding where this occurs in your chart. I can tell you, because that will help you to pay attention, what to look for, right? To be more aware, to raise your consciousness is what that does, because you make an effort to be more aware. That's called initiation, folks. Initiation is making the effort to be aware. That is initiation. All right, so on that day, the sun and Mercury are receiving a beautiful trine from Neptune. At that time, because they're at 18 degrees, they're receiving 60 degrees apart. Is called a sextile. The sextile adds ease, okay? It adds ease. It's kind of like a trine. Obviously, a trine makes things easier because it's a trine. But what the sextile does is it gives assistance, okay? So we're going to be getting assistance from the transiting Saturn. Saturn's at 16 degrees. She's trining at the same time, Neptune exactly. And this is what makes this day, 11/11, so beautiful. Sextile, sextile. Neptune sextiles exactly Saturn. Saturn sextiles Mercury and the sun. Pluto's also part of this. It's a 2-degree orb. 2-degree orb. It's at 20. Actually, it's at 21 here. So it's about a 3-degree orb, okay, from Pluto to Mercury and the sun. And 21 degrees to the 16, that's a 5-degree orb. So either way, it's sextile, 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 with all the big boys involved, Saturn, Pluto, and Neptune. That is beautiful, people. That's a really beautiful day where there's, you know, this day is a day of divine downloads. Divine downloads is what you can call this, okay? Neptune's a big player here. Now, since Pluto does, believe it or not, out-trump Neptune, it adds to the power, the potency of the message, the potency of the importance of the information that comes that day. Now, depending upon, again, I don't know how many times I can say it, but depending upon the inner part of this chart, like if this was my chart, like if this was your chart or my chart, you know, like for this, obviously this is not, but like pretend that this was someone's chart. Pretend that somebody was born whatever years ago and their sun was in this plant, was at that location, 10 degrees. And on, you know, when Mercury shows itself on that day, when you go back, it shows itself like at 11 degrees, and this is at 10. Oh my gosh, this would be a complete revelation for this person, because Mercury would be coming visible right on top of their natal sun as well. That's a huge deal. So you see how knowing what your chart and where your planets lie and the relationship then that they would have, the kind of conversations they would be having with the transiting planets, that's astrology, people. Okay? That is astrology. It's a lot. It's a lot. Totally is a lot. So I wanted to just be able to take today to break down the explanation of how this looks astrologically. I also wanted to explain, again, the beautiful trine we're receiving, the divine trine we're receiving right now with the moon's nodes and Neptune and the sun, okay? So let's go back to, let's move this all on back. We're going to go to, what is today, the 4th? Today's energy, today's chart. Actually, I'll just flick on this chart instead. It doesn't show another person's information, which is easier to read then. Yeah. See how much easier to read this is? Because in that way you're getting a just a look at one set of planets and not something on the outside as well. And that, it is very complicated. I know I have to keep popping my head in there to make sure that we're all good. Okay, so what I want to now talk about, well, actually, no, you know what? Let's just end this here, and this will be a separate video, and then I can go through the signs in another video. So again, this is G with all astrology. Oh, let's do this. All right. So this was G with all astrology, and I hope that you guys found some benefit at watching this. I hope that this helped you to understand the current energies of the moment for November 4th. Tomorrow is one of my goddaughter's birthday, November 5th. Happy birthday, beautiful girl. I love you. Beautiful Scorpio girl. I know this has been, man, I know you've been going through some really rough time. Just, you know, the astrology of it is a really, man, it's been difficult, I know. But hang in there. Things are going to change. That's a guarantee for all of us. Energy changes, and that is one of the beautiful, inspirational, uplifting things about astrology is that it's going to change. It's not going to stay. Thank God, right? Because, man, when it's good, but when it's not so good, sometimes it's not so good, and we need help. We need inspiration. We need something to hold on to. We need a way to find how to put a foot forward and to make things happen and how to live. So I hope this was some help to you, and stay tuned for the next video. The next video I'm going to be doing is going to be all about the effects of the 11:11 and the big conjunction, the galactic center, the source speaking to us directly on the 23rd of November. I want to do a reading for those as far as where it happens in your chart dependent upon rising signs. All right? Thank you.